I just created a blog in 5 minutes using Superblog. This tool calls itself a WordPress and Medium alternative, and some interesting companies like Llama Life are already using it, so there's something interesting here. I must say that I like what they are doing, especially with SEO, but Superblog has a small, tiny problem. Let's talk about that. Superblog solves several problems users have and hate when they use WordPress. The first is that Superblog is really easy to use. You don't need to install or touch any code to create the blog. Instead, you only need to press a couple of buttons, enter the blog name, put a short description, and that's it. No worries about hosting, installation, and all the boring stuff you must deal with on WordPress. Then Superblog also makes it easy to import content from other platforms with their data importing page. This is good for the most part, although I would have liked them to allow importing JSON files, as this is a common file format when moving from one tool to another. Next, when it comes to creating content, Superblog works really well. The editor layout is clean and has everything you expect, like embedding videos and tweets. You can also write custom HTML if you want to create something unique. One thing I like is the native table of contents, and one improvement they should make is adding buttons to the editor. Like other tools with a big focus on blogging, Superblog also has categories and tags to organize the content on the site. It's all smooth sailing so far, and now let's talk about one of the most important parts of having a blog. Can people find your blog when they search on Google? Or in other words, does it have good SEO? Superblog does a good job in this category. By default, every blog is well optimized. This is a very positive thing for users that don't know or don't want to spend time doing this optimization. So Superblog takes care of the essentials. For example, when writing a post, Superblog has a checklist with basic SEO recommendations that are easy to follow and help you go in the right direction. But for the more advanced users, Superblog allows them to customize things. An example that comes to mind is changing the canonical URLs if the user wants. Regarding SEO things missing, there are only a few things to point out at this moment. And apart from redirects, these things missing are more like a nice to have than essential for success. And speaking of something essential for success, let's talk about website speed. We all know that a fast website is important for users and is a Google ranking factor. But if you ever had a slow website, you know that making it faster is easier said than done. Fortunately, when you use Superblog, your site will be as fast as Roadrunner. Superblog is super fast because they use a different type of technology than most other blogging tools. I mean, it will be ridiculously fast. You will get almost perfect scores on speed test tools. I will not bore you with the details about how this works, but in short, Superblog builds the site and saves the pages on servers across the world. So when a user requests the site, they don't have to wait for it to load. Although Superblog is good, I will show you their weaknesses later in the video. But sticking to the positives, another essential aspect of using Superblog is security. By default, any tool has risks of being hacked. That's part of having a site and being online. But the attack surface area on Superblog is much smaller than other tools because they use Jamstack technology. To put things into plain language, imagine the attack surface area on WordPress is the size of the Atlantic Ocean. And on Superblog, the area is around the size of Lake Superior. That means Superblog is much safer than most tools, as there are no plugins that can get hacked and other common weak points, which will help you sleep well at night. There are other small things to like about Superblog, including them having an easy way for you to capture email via forms and pop-ups. You won't even need to code anything to enable this. There's also a Scribble page where you can quickly note down ideas for future content pieces. Changing the homepage structure is also incredibly easy thing to do, as you can pick between a feed with the latest posts and a static page. Another thing I really like is the ability to translate to website meta. There's a page in the dashboard when you can easily change the language of the buttons and menus people see on the website. On most blogging tools, translations require more work than this, so I give a big thumbs up for Superblog here. Now let's transition to the current problems with Superblog. Please hold your forks because there are not so many things wrong with Superblog, but one of those things is the weak customization on Superblog. I said weak, I meant non-existent customization. At this moment, you can't use a different theme on Superblog. You get one theme and one theme only. I'm not considering the ability to change from a feed to a static homepage as another theme, because in practice that's not. Hopefully this improves soon, as almost every blogging tool has at least some theme options to pick from. Another thing that's kinda iffy on Superblog is the monetization options. They allow us to put Google ads on the site, and that's good. But because of the technology Superblog uses, I'm almost sure they will not be able to enable paid memberships anytime soon. So if you are thinking of charging money for people to read your content, I'm sorry, but you will be better off using another tool. And what I think is the biggest problem of Superblog, it's its pricing. To put things into perspective, let me ask you a question. Do you think buying a Rolex is a bad idea? People who can't afford a Rolex will say it's a bad idea. But if you can afford it and want a luxury option, the conversation is different. That's how I currently see Superblog. My biggest problem with these Superblog prices is that the users who need a tool like this the most will not be able to afford Superblog, as these prices are more targeted at businesses, not individual creators. So I will say that Superblog is not cheap, but a good tool. If you can afford it and like how they do things, nice, you might have found your next blogging tool. However, if you want the best value for money, at this moment Superblog is not that. But Superblog delivers on what they promised. Easy to use, super fast and optimized for search. Yes, they still need to improve when it comes to customization, and that should be easy to solve in the coming months. So I give Superblog a rating of good but slightly overpriced. Thanks for watching.